We are gathered today to give respect to Congus, a beloved member of the PG broadcast. He gave his life doing what he loved most, making content. We are here to honor our fallen brother and somehow find a way to continue making content surrounding PG without him. May his soul finally find his rest day.
Man, can't believe he's gone.
I hear he was working on some banger content for amateur.
Wait, I thought he was making Academy content.
No, I heard he was making content for amateur.
No, heck you, it was Academy content.
Well, I guess this means war.
Oh no, it's happening again.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I just got back from LCS. What happened?
Hello everyone and welcome to Proving Grounds, where Academy and Amateur face off, and we are in play-in stage, starting everything off on a very brutal twist, just like the broadcast with killed Congus. That's a little much. I think it was magical, by the way. But hello you two. I am Sierradon, joined with Cubby and with Pyra for today's broadcast. Pyra, what is your prediction? Who killed him?
I mean, yeah, magical is the obvious one, but that means it's definitely not him, right? I feel like at the end of the day, it was probably Smacks with the bomb.
Ooh.
Cubby, who do you think it was? Also, hello.
Hello, it's great to be here. You know, I gotta say, maybe Congus was just a victim of the grind. You never know. The gym grind plus the casting grind could be tough.
Burnout culture's real.
You know, we're gonna see. We have the jury out. We may or may not have an update on that in the near future, depending on when Kangas opens up Premiere again. We'll see.
I mean, maybe he was a victim of the plans that are here, because it is going to be a brutal day. We're gonna see a bunch of teams face off to try and make it into the bracket up next, and the whole bracket that we have, there's going to be a lot of fun matches over in these play-in, Cubby.
Yeah, so today's the play-in stage. This is the new stage of Proving Grounds that we added for this year. So we saw it last split, but it works much like March Madness with the play-in teams. It is a do-or-die game. It's a best of 3. You win, you're in the bracket. You're in the double elimination stage of the tournament. If not, you're out in round 1, 17 through 20 finish. And that's it for the season. As a developmental League of Legends, it's you are relegated to competing in non-Riot sanctioned tournaments now. So this really is when we could say goodbye to a couple of our teams, and we're gonna have to see if our academy teams can hold strong yet again. This time, as in spring, it was 4 for 4. But there are some worthy challengers in amateur that are gonna try and take them down today.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see if they can rise to the challenge, Gubby.
Yeah.
Because we get to see some fast eliminations in this one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things in Academy. I mean, the wins are always nice, but it's looking for that improvement and stuff. But something that does matter, of course, is you need to be in that top 6. So it's going to be 4 Academy teams at this point in the play-ins too, to try and show that they have improved, that they can make it and deserve their spot in the bracket. So it should be really interesting to see how that all pans out. I love a good play-in stage. It's always really sad, but I feel like backs against the wall, this is where we get to see the most from teams, get to see who really steps up in the face of chaos, and I am here for it. I am living for it. But it is the beginning of our Proving Grounds broadcast, so I have to ask you two, in your own certain terms, for anyone out there who doesn't know, we'll start with you, Cubby. What is Proving Grounds?
Well, March Madness was taken. We might have used it in spring. So we're gonna have to rock with something new, as Kangas has coined this August absurdity, as it is the bracket stage again. If you win today, you are in the double elimination portion of the bracket and tournament. If you lose, you are out. But it's 20 teams, the 10 teams that we have from Academy, and the top 10 teams that we've had from Amateur that have been competing throughout the circuit for the entire summer. There were 2 tournaments that were OQs and the CQs. Teams got qualified not only if you made top 16, it didn't only get you points for PG, but also got you in Champs queues. So a lot of these teams, you know, I think a lot of different amateur teams had different expectations joining the tournament. Some wanted to play for Champs queue. Some were playing to practice for their collegiate season coming up. Some were playing because they wanted to have fun, felt like they could win, and they might be here. So I think it's really exciting that, you know, have that wall broken down between amateur and academy. We saw in 21 spring an amateur team won it all in no org. We will see Anda from that team competing later today on this stream. And we'll have to see if any amateur teams can make a long run, because ever since PG has been founded, it's really helped our academy teams make better decisions in the offseason. So we'll see if amateur teams can live up to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be really exciting to see. But of course, we do need to catch up a little bit with the amateur teams and anything that anyone at home might has missed. And we're going to send it to Grapes for this is what you've missed.
Hey look, it's August 3rd, which means 10 amateur teams are about to face off against Academy in our 4th ever LCS Proving Grounds. All 10 of these teams went through a long, arduous, and overall pretty fun journey to get to this point. But if for some reason you weren't able to tune in, here's what you missed on the Summer Proving Ground Circuit qualifiers. 64 teams and over 200 players entered the PGO queues for their chance at the amateur crown. Seeding was meh, but then it got better. And we saw a ton of crazy games in both the open qualifiers. More on that later. 100 Thieves next came in as the expected top team, and even though they made some changes with 2 of their players getting promoted to Academy, Sniper still looked like the GOAT, and 100 Next won their first tournament with ease. They would have won the second as well, but someone had something to say about that. Good job, Taco. Also, Robik's Exposed show go live on air. AoE Esports actually had 2 teams qualify for Proving Grounds, but it's AoE, did you really expect anything less? AoE Main was one of the top teams the entire split with their early game aggression and buy support picks, but came just short of the finals in both of their runs. Looks like their first finals appearance will have to come in Proving Grounds. Meanwhile, AoE Ginger Turmeric brought some spice with some of the players on their roster. But their mentals remained strong, and they emerged as one of the best team-fighting teams in all of Amateur. The Cincinnati Fear put together a great roster, with a lot of players from that Team No team that did really well in Spring. And even though they didn't know much about Cincinnati, they definitely knew a lot about Fear. I'm still having nightmares about Sketchesary. Speaking of nightmare. Ooh, terrifying. Kitsua, Raviov, and Chookies decided winning CeeLo was just a little bit too easy for them, so they had to stomp through PG instead. Those are the 6 teams in the upper bracket. Who's joining them in the Gulag? Well... Evil Genius's Prodigies revamped their entire roster around 2 exciting new rookies in Yukino and Nia, and even though they weren't able to crack top 8 in either tournament, they still look really scary and are sure to be a tough out for any team here in PG. Veteran prayed, and prayed, and prayed for CLG Faith to win. And at the beginning, his prayers weren't really answered very much. But Rosethorn and Trevor are back from Academy, and now CLG Faith are all of a sudden looking pretty good heading into Proving Grounds. Niles and Iconic are reunited, and APA looks like a literal god when he's on Victor this split, but Maryville actually found themselves eliminated rather quickly in both tournaments. That's alright though, because now Maryville gets to play against TSM Academy. The last time these 2 teams faced off, it was an absolute banger. Get your popcorn ready, folks. Also, this team called DK Crew started the first OQ seeded dead last, which was like crazy, but then somebody started a copy pasta, these 2 guys made a music video, and all of a sudden they're improving them. Banana Slamma, baby. We also saw Wolverine BO on Soraka, Nora came back, and then they didn't, and Veteran... What are you doing, man? Alright, whatever. And that's what you missed on PG.
That's such a nice little way to catch up with all of our amateur teams, and I mean, what is Veteran doing? That is the real question going into this. I wish that I did get to see that video before I made my amateur win predictions, though, because I maybe said my guess was a little low. I'm not gonna lie, and that video has me pretty hyped now. I went for the standard 4 here, Pyra. I feel bad about it. You did 8.
Look, I gave him 8. Like, I tied with Magical here. I actually thought I was gonna be the highest, but like Rafa and Smacks got us beat. Like, I don't blame you for not having the Hopium early, Sierra. But like, I feel like based on what we just saw, there's definitely some hope. There's a lot of standout players in amateur that I think are absolutely going places, and I think they can take some wins for sure.
Yeah, good to see Smacks huffing the Hopium early. I always appreciate that, especially from And our casters covering amateur. I gotta say, last split, it is worth noting, amateur teams got 6 wins and won 2 series over some of the academy teams that we had. Personally, I have them, netting 6 wins and hopefully a couple series wins. I think that Taco Gaming and Hunter Next put on a really good performance in the finals just yesterday. Went to all 5 very competitive games and a very fun series. Those are probably the 2 highest hopes that amateur has in this one, but we'll see if I can be proven wrong, and we have 4 amateur teams today looking to do so.
Yet it's such a real stage to the competition. It'll be a fun day for sure. Over on the LCS channel is going to be the first little set of play-ins. And to break down the logos, because, there's a little much, it's going to be EG
WTF, 2
Prodigies
EGs?
going up against Golden Guardians, and then EG Academy up against CLG Faith. Love the partnerships and the developmental, but it does get a little confusing on these graphics sometimes. Over on the Academy channel, our logos a little easier to track. We're going to see Immortals face off against DK Crew and then go to Maryville University taking on TSMA. So it should be a lot of fun. And of course, with Proving Grounds starting, you want to make sure that you are following Path to LCS on Twitter, because this is where you're going to get your updates. This is where you're going to get your content. This is where you're going to hopefully find out who killed Kungus, if we do get some justice after all for that. So make sure that you are following as well. Let us know your own amateur predictions, because we need to know. And if you want to come at me and Mazel for guessing so low, then that's also the place to do that. But we'll have to see if maybe we can be proven wrong out of the gate with our amateur teams facing off. And to start things off, it is going to be DK Crew going up against Immortals. Now, this one's interesting for a different reason on each teams. Immortals have been having a torrential downpour right now. Terrible slide. The second half of the round robin wasn't that great, but DK Crew, not, I think, necessarily supposed to be at this point. It's kind of, a little ray of sunshine, a little pot of gold at the end of the rainbow here, Cubby. And now they got to prove that they deserve the spot.
Despite the typography over the banana, I would say the banana has been pretty right for DK Crew this split, as these are 5 players that historically we have seen in collegiate. Fun fact, my very first collegiate match that I played as a freshman in college was actually against RMU, where Evan RL and Clyde played in 2014. So it's kind of fun, having that collegiate history with so many people. And DK Crew have rightfully earned themselves, as Grapes pointed out in his great catch-up video. They were a very low seed that we had in the first OQ this summer. They were able to make both close qualifiers through the OQs, and while they didn't make a top 8, they were in really tough groups and gave the teams in those hard groups runs for their money. So we'll see if they can take advantage of IMT, who are on a slide and really looking to bounce back by putting up a confident 2-0 over one of the amateur squads we have.
I'd call them a dark horse, but they're definitely a bit more on the monkey side of things, Cubby. And I think Savage is definitely one of the big players we want to keep an eye on. Yes, they threw the banana peel at Jake's Kittens to get here, but hey, they made it. And I think no expectations means they can only surprise.
Yeah, also, shout out to their manager, who I believe did all the art that we have instead of the player photos.
Really good art, too.
It is fantastic. I really like, when it comes to amateur, we have like this trio of branding, which is you are either, food related, animal related, or related to no org in some way. It fits the trio, which, I always appreciate. But yeah, shout out to Mina for doing a lot of this wonderful art. She's obviously very talented. And we'll see if DK Crew can live up to some of that talent today.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, anybody who's missing a player card, you know exactly who to be commissioning for a pitcher, because those look absolutely sick. But to bring it back into this matchup and the players that we want to see, I mean, these are players that we're highlighting, Fire, because these are players that we're looking for a hero. We're looking for somebody to stand out and help bring this team to a victory.
And that's Savage, right? You can see in this play, it was just absolutely ridiculous. The flank around the side, the Silas ult steal onto the Seraphine, and it just sets this thing up perfectly. Like, yes, this is amateur versus amateur. I think that this is a squad that definitely has a lot of experience. Cubby, you talked about playing off against Short Rays. Like,
yeah.
In 2014, I was casting this guy in the LCS expansion tournament.
Yeah.
Like, these are names that have been around for a while. Evan RL, he's been around the globe. I mean, like, very experienced players. So I think, despite being an amateur organization, they have plenty of experience to bear.
Definitely. But now Savage and the rest of DK crew are going to be going up against Immortals and Pretty in particular. And Pretty has been someone that we've talked about quite a bit throughout Academy. And yes, there has been this big slide, but Pretty is a great player and somebody that, I mean, if we can see him hopefully step up in this case, Cubby, we could hopefully just see the quick 2-0 and a turnaround, hopefully, for Immortals going into further improving grounds.
Yeah, I know the second round robin hasn't been what Immortals was hoping for. I really think that Pretty throughout everything has been playing pretty well. It's just that for Pretty, he really is someone that needs to activate his team. And it feels like his champ pool, he's playing the enablers 24/7. And, is someone that was known for his mage plays. So I think it says a lot about how IMT has to play in order to find wins. And I'm hoping that we see Immortals. I almost want to see them lead into that, because when Pretty is on a playmaker, when he's able to help the team make plays, it just feels like everything else falls in line so much more easily for IMTA.
Yeah, and I believe that we do have a Pretty player card as well, because we have a couple of fun facts on these, so I want to see. But Pyra, as someone who's gotten to watch Academy, here we go. Meet you, but I want to get your thoughts on Pretty and just Immortals in general, their state in Academy and going further.
It's tough, right? Because this is the team that ended up in the 7th seed. The only reason they are even in the play-in stage is because of the skid at the end. They lost, I think it was something like 5 of their last 8 games in Academy, and it's because they have struggled with what Hubby has talked about, like being able to kind of get activated and be the playmakers. And it isn't just Pretty. I mean, I think Pretty's like a very reliable player. I think Chad has been struggling as well. And it's interesting, we highlighted, back in Academy, Chad obviously always has quite a lot to say and can make the highlight plays, but the coin flip side of that is if he falls flat, they don't really get much done. The reason it's even like, you called it a downpour, and it has, because the rain has certainly fallen from the spring split. This is a team that ended up as the 4th place Proving Ground spring team, and it's just kind of surprising. They made a few changes, admittedly. I don't think they're all net negatives. I mean, Vital coming in obviously is one of those, but it's almost a bit of a head scratcher. I don't know, Cubby, were you expecting this team to be here based on like the second round robin entirely?
I mean, these guys were 5-13 in the second round robin, which was really disappointing. Again, this is a team where the core did take top 4 in the last PG, and I know from talking with Chad, he feels like they're scaling, and he really thinks that this roster can get back there. But Chad said, "Hey, I've been quieter in the second round robin. Like it's not as fun for me when I'm not winning games with my team." So I think that IMT really hoping to take advantage of the opportunity, getting to play a do or die best of 3, a high stakes game against an amateur team. Even for a team like IMT, where we expect our Academy teams to do well, and I would argue that this is one of the more one-sided matchups that we have for the start of Proving Grounds with these do-or-die best-of-3s. It could be a great confidence boost for some of these young players to really get a sound 2-0 that matters on a big stage. And we've seen teams like 100 Thieves Academy in spring really take that and run with that as they made it all the way to finals. They were the ones that did knock out IMTA in the top 4. So never know. Sometimes play-ins can really help give you that confidence boost, and I feel like Immortals could really use that and run with it, given how young the roster is and what we saw from them earlier in the split, which was good plays when they were really feeling confident.
Yeah, it's really interesting that we do have this kind of like weird split where you have like a lot of the older and like very experienced like veteran players on the amateur roster and the younger ones on the Academy side. The dynamic is kind of weird, right? Like I almost wonder, because this is like the last seed in amateur, this is a team that a lot of people weren't necessarily expecting to be here, if that is less or more pressure on Immortals Academy. Like you've got to make sure that in the pregame and getting up in picks and bans, like you have to just keep your mental strong and not let the fact that you placed in 7th in Academy really affect you. And it is a mark of teams that, not just experienced squads, but really like strong mental on individual player levels, that they can just like throw that all out. This is a new tournament. It's a new patch as well. We're going to be playing on 12.14 today.
Yeah.
And I love that you're bringing up the fact, too, for specifically, Cubby, you're talking about Immortals getting a clean 2-0 here and just being able to take that momentum and hopefully have that be the end of the slide and move on forward. but there is still that expectations, and having expectations on your back can definitely weigh you down. And this is going up against DK Crew now, which is a team with not a single expectation. They can do whatever, and it's all going to be like, yeah, DK Crew came out here and it's cool stuff. So I want to ask you, how do you think that's going to translate into this matchup?
I mean, one of the more interesting parts about this is that our amateur teams, they're jumping from 12-12B to 12-14 overnight. So the teams that played in finals yesterday, they were on 12-12B, and 12-14 has major changes in the patch. Mostly the system changes that we had to sustain. So Riot across the board, nerf sustain. That involves potions, it involves runes, it involves some of the healing on our champions like Janna and Aatrox, and that's really going to shift up the meta. And I think the teams, if they have a good read on that, it can really help them, especially early on in the patch, where we will kind of be learning with them, like, hey, what's good? Like a pick like Pantheon. We haven't seen Pantheon all year. Pantheon was played in LPL last night, and I fully expected to see picked or banned in the games today and throughout this tournament. So, like, where does a champ like that fall on the totem pole? You know, what are the matchups? What are the counters? And then how do you build comps around that to play with it, play against it? These are all things that the teams have to figure out very quickly, and it will be a challenge for them moving forward. So while that's difficult, it can be something that they can take advantage of, and we'll see if maybe IMT can use that to stop the slide. Again, this was a team, I must correct myself, it was not 5-13 in the second round robin. It was 3-15. So they really struggled in the second round robin. But a champion like Pantheon, that feels to me like something that could really fit Chad's wheelhouse. So I want to see if they take some risks, want to see if they try and push things forward, and could be really interesting against DK Crew.
I think the mid lane too is going to be very, very pivotal. Not just because we highlighted these two players as like potentially big heroes, big standouts, but because of the changes you mentioned, right? Like maybe we'll start to see some of the return more of the bursty assassins. I know they exist. We see the LeBlanc. We see. I mean, I cast the BCS. Syndra comes out all the time because Mission is a player, but I think maybe that's going to be potentially more likely, which means laning. Yeah, laning is a bigger deal now, right? Yeah. And Savage is known for being an incredibly good laner. I think Pretty's going to have to be really, really careful. Like, I don't want to make it sound like Immortals aren't favored, because I absolutely think they are. But there's a lot of things that could be going the way of our amateur squad here. And as you said, Sierra, with lower expectations on them, you could say no expectations. I mean, to keep the cart reference going, maybe they can blue shell.
The Mario Kart references from you. I'm gonna have to have a counter to see how many of those get dropped throughout the day. But
it's gonna be a lot.
I feel like banana would work better, given the
well,
DK
I started
crew.
with banana. I gotta ration it, right?
Okay,
You can't just eat bananas all day, Cubby. That's too much potassium.
Right.
That's fine. I was throwing a green shell at you, not a red shell. I'm sorry.
Oh, fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll coin the question then. That was really bad. You were saying, of course, in this matchup, Immortals are favored. I want to know to what level of favored you two think, considering the slide that we've seen. Do you think this is going to be like a 2-0 GD go next? Do we think that there is going to be this opportunity for DK Crew to take a game? Where are our heads at?
You want to take this first, Cubby, or should I? Okay.
90% chance IMT wins the series, 80% chance they 2-0. That's right, put it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. What about you?
I mean, I don't think I'm going to get quite as mathematical. Generally, I agree with you, Cubby. I think it's really just going to come down to like draft game one should set the tone, in my opinion, because it is a new patch and because both these teams are going to be feeling each other out. Like, apart from being able to scout each other, it is two related but different ecosystems clashing, right? Like IMTA are going to be used to the academy system. I think that level of play is a little different. And for DK Crew, I think it's on them to come up with something novel, something interesting. If they can find a good draft bamboozle, I think they can carry that momentum, and that's the way they win the game. But the question of if they do that, and if it gets sniffed out and countered well by IMT Academy. So if I have to put a number, I'm going to give them a little more of a chance. I'm going to say like 75% win percentage there for Immortals. But there's always the DK Crew. The Banana Slamma could be coming out today.
I mean, that would definitely be a way to start the stream. I mean, I think it's pretty clear by my own amateur prediction that I do think that our academy teams will be able to at this point. Especially since we've seen better things from Immortals. Like, we've seen the past, and there is a forum that hopefully we could see going on forward into Proving Grounds when all the teams turn up the gas, turn up the heat, there was right there, put their foot on the gas. My bad, sorry. I forgot about the references, the Mario Kart references. That's my bad.
The A
Wait,
button.
we're accelerating through them. It's okay. Yeah. Never hit the B button. Always
Yeah.
say.
But just because of that, and the fact that teams have been looking towards Proving Grounds, and this is where, okay, things are going to matter, that we could hopefully see that shift in momentum now coming from Immortals. So I do think it'll be a 2-0. I do hope that there's going to be a fun fight coming out from DK Crew that are going to make the games rather spicy, though, Pyra.
Yeah, no, I think they can. I mean, like, it's all upside, right? And the players have talked a little bit about, like, you know, what their goals are and what they want to do, and this is all done. Like, a lot of them have been around for a while. You know, Desrex was actually talking to a number of the players. Clyde was saying, like, you know, after this is over, I'm going to retire. They're going to want to make a big, like, ride off into the sunset. Even if they make it to the main event, I think it's a massive success story. It's not too dissimilar from, you know, when you look at, like, the World Championships, seeing a team from a minor region making it through. Like, it's not the same thing exactly, but it's always massive. And considering the fact that they are the last seed, that they kind of eked their way in here, and they only formed for the summer. Like, what they've already done is monumental. It's very, very impressive, and I think that they can have fun with it, especially from some of the older players that have been there, that have done that. You know, Evan RL is another one who I think has always been around at various levels of play. I remember him from, like, International Wildcard in, like, 2015, and that's a guy who, like, he goes up and down, but he always seems to have fun playing the game, and I think that's very, very important if, like, you don't get into your own head too much, because it means you can surprise your opponents.
And that is something that, you know, I caught up with Shorter Race before this, something that he talked about. You know, they agreed to play together because Harrisburg, you know, didn't make a LAN, so they wanted to, you know, play together, as a lot of this core is from that Harrisburg University team. But
Right.
I mean, they're for
coach.
sure. Yeah. They're really having fun with it. And, you know, for Shorter Race, this is a pretty cool, like, situation or opportunity because, you know, he was talking so much about playing against Arrow. You know, Arrow is this legendary player from the LCK, and KT Arrows, that was Shorter Race's favorite team growing up when he was on Winter Fox, and, you know, making those appearances. You know, the chance that he has to play against Arrow is something that he said, like, was insane, right? Like, given the circumstances, he's like, look, I just finished watching the Players season finale. You know, I watched it in the 2014 Summer Finals. Like, the fact I get to go up against him is really cool. So I think that for, you know, Shorter Race, someone that does have a lot of history in the NA scene, you know, someone that is more of an elder player, as he called himself, still experiencing new things here as he's going up against someone like Arrow, is really cool and something that DK Crew can run with. And I think given, you know, just their perspective, their experience playing in collegiate for so many years with all these guys, and the goals they have for this tournament, I don't think they're going to be playing with any pressure. I mean, these guys have no expectations and nothing to lose. And I really want to see them throw down and try and match IMT, a team that, in Academy, loves to throw down themselves, as IMT's games are always bloody.
Yeah, and you can hear it from the way Chad talks about things too. And I know you talked to him as well. Did he tell you any like facial hair tips? Because that mustache is killer.
Yeah, so I mean, we got a couple more minutes till Sham Select. We can get through this as well.
I wanna hear the story
Chad Jungle.
Yeah,
a little bit of story time with Chad Jungle. So Chad, we told a story before on this stream about how when he was Plat 2, he made a spreadsheet to try and hit Challenger within 2 months. He had to get like 100 LP a day, or I think it was like 70 LP a day. Didn't end up working out, but Chad kept on grinding his way up. Along the way, while he was still, you know, hanging out around mid to low diamond, actually played at the regional tournament where he got to go up against Shorter Race way back in like 2015, 2016. When Shorter Race, you know, was a jungler that was competing in the NACS series and all that. So he said he got crushed by Shorter Race, but it feels cool to Chad as well to, you know, be on the Academy team, facing the amateur team with Shorter Race on it. You know, knowing Shorter Race, respecting that experience, but also for Chad, knowing that he's doing something right, being on the Academy side of things. So, little history that we have between our players here.
A fun little rivalry that you're not gonna see at surface level. I like that. It adds a little extra depth to things, especially to seeing Chad's journey in particular, and him just being here at this point, Hyra.
Absolutely. You know, I love that we're having so many like history lessons throwbacks too, because like all of these like all these
Right?
events, all these times, like this is like when I got started shoutcasting, and I'm just like, it's just absolutely like sending me back in time. This is super cool, and like seeing players like Shorter Race, like Evan RL, still be around and make it to this level, even if it's just like a for funsies thing for them personally. Like I love the story around this DK Crew squad that they formed because Harrisburg didn't have a big land to play in, but they still wanted to play together, so they kind of just made their own banner and added in a couple of players. So really, really cool stuff. I'm excited to see what happens today. Win or lose, it's going to be a fun match.
It definitely is. And regardless, DK Crew have left a big impression. There's a reason why there's so much content around them. There is that hype around them. Champion Select now is ready, but we got a little special treat for everyone first, so watch out.
Academy can conjure all the wickedness that amateur can produce. We'll send on to them DK Crew, Banana Slammer, until it is done.
Come on, Eric. Take this to PG.
So they're finally here from BGCQ. If you know the words, you can join in too. Put your hands together if you want to clap as we take you through this EG rap.
From the top side of the map, you know the vibe, the plays that he makes. You can't describe. Took the dub and seal, now Academy's next. Got a champion so big, you better read the fine text. When he's on the ring, keep your eyelids peeled, cause you're gonna wanna watch the damage hybrid steals.
He has no style, he has no grace. This player's name is Shorter Ace. His skills are there, his knees are dank. He's never afraid to go for a gank. On any team, he will fit right in. And you better watch out if he's on Lee Sin. Top dives, mid roads, pentakills. If you mess with the crew, you better run for the hills. Top dives, mid roads, pentakills. If you mess with the crew, you better run for the hills.
This player's got style, so listen up, dudes. If you face him in, you're totally screwed. When you get the bed, he'll win every fight, and he'll roam across the room to make wrong things right. With the shockwave, a shuffle, or a corner package, he makes people say, what a pie he's at.
From a different school, he's joined the crew. He'll make you shake in the 2v2 when he's on weak side. No balling compares, and if he gets his Senna, you better give up a prayer. With smoke and fire, he'll reign in hell. You know him, you love him, it's Evan RL.
He's back again, and about time too. It's the last member of the DK crew. He's won for years, and on the big stage, he'll start the fights. He's got the big in game. He plays support, but his presence a gift. All players beware when Clyde's on the ring. Huh.
Woo! Anybody got a mosh pit around here? Wow, what an opener. And DK Crew, I guess it's not just Banana Slam anymore, but it's Head Slam as well, Cubby.
Yeah, Grapes and Deserex, the ultimate content duo that the world didn't know that we needed until they wrote the DK Crew rap. And hey, we'll see if the boys can bring it against IMTA. Excited to see this one. Excited if DK Crew can really give IMTA a run for their money, or if IMTA has shown that they've patched up some of the mistakes they were making in the second round robin of Academy and have some strength going into PG.
Absolutely. I'm hearing we're getting ready for champion selection, so let's see for game number 1 here. Immortals Academy, it was a skid for the end of their Academy summer run. However, it's a new tournament, it's a new day, it's a brand new patch. They're on blue side. Let's see what they can do against the DK Crew. Vi's taken off the table already. I do like the targeting out of Shorter Ace.
Wow, I can't believe, Pyra, you are elevated after hearing the DK Crew rap. We've got you Yeah, we've got you elevated. All,
I
all
got,
the
you know what,
head
I'm
slamming.
gonna bring myself down just a little bit because I feel like I feel like it was I was a little bit too hype. I was a little bit too energetic. But you know what? We're back there now.
Ah, bummer. Okay. Well, you know what, Pirate? That's all good. We'll get you all hyped up here later once we get some DK Crew. As again, DK Crew, primarily a collegiate core, hailing out of Harrisburg University. That's where Coach Tyler exists as well, the coach for this team. These players, you know, they have a lot of collegiate history between hybrids, Evan RL and Clyde. Evan RL and Clyde have been a duo for, God, like, I want to say 4 different universities at some point. So these guys are really collegiate journeymen. And the fact that they can make it through an amateur tournament and represent their own team really speaks to the quality of their play.
Absolutely. I think it was a great decision to kind of like keep like the experienced core together to really work with a couple of new talents or a couple of talents they hadn't before, but to kind of keep that all in the same, even if they weren't playing under the same banner. As we get into the first picks, though, Immortals, they have Talia as it was left open. Chat's gonna get a lock on that one. So no Pantheon for this game, but we'll see DK Crew looking to mix things up. That's the Syndra that we're seeing for Savage.
So we are on 12.14. That means a lot of changes to the system, sustain and lane. We're going to see more Syndra, and that's the Pantheon I was talking about already. So a very aggressive mid-jungle duo for DK Crew, but it's going into Pretty's Talia. And IMT, they've been on a slide. But whenever Pretty gets Talia, he's the one that slides over the enemy team, as he is 6-1 on this champion for IMT or 7 Poise Crew. That's damn good. It's his most played of the split, and I like the duo that DK Crew has into it, but it's going to be a challenge whenever you're going up against Pretty's Talia.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to impact the side of the map is going to be massive. Also, we've seen Pretty just do some incredible things on that one, as well as, well, with the bottom lane kind of being prioritized here for Immortals. It does end up being the Aphelios coming in early, so they've already built themselves some decent scaling in. And, well, to try and take it toe-to-toe with the Pantheon, you got a J4 coming in here for Chad Jungle.
All right, so Jarvan saw some buffs on this patch. Personally, I think there's placebo buffs. I think that Jarvan's in a fine state. It's just that the meta around jungle doesn't really fit Jarvan, and especially the marksman meta. Like, as long as Zeri's meta, it's really tough to play J4 and champs like Zeri. So I think now that we're seeing Pantheon, Jarvan's a very common answer into that champ. We're going to see Chad take it. It is one of Chad's best champs historically. Whereas Hybrids grabbing his best champ, what his icon was made in model of, as it's going to be the Aatrox heading up top for Hybrids.
Absolutely. That's huge. You know, we were talking about the Zeri. I thought maybe that would actually end up being the pick since it was left open here for DK Crew, but instead they want to take Hybrids' favorite there and, yeah, continue moving forward. Looks like the Yone gets banned away into the next phase.
That's curious to me. It tells me that they still think there's, or I should say, they're trying to protect the top lane. Not that curious. It is vital. He is the Yone player. We'll see if they end up targeting him with another ban. They already took away his Fiora, the namesake of the champion, and will be the Jax as well. So a lot of resources given to Hybrids in draft to try and protect him, given the fact they just blind the Aatrox. Whereas IMT, they get to take away a couple of marksmen, MF, and then also Clyde's Pike, a champion that he's been known for on the ladder, denied from DK Crew.
Yeah, I'm going to not let the kill lane be quite as deadly here, but there's still a lot of power packed in the DK Crew roster already. We'll see what their penultimate pick is going to be. So we'll flip it back over to IMT. I mean, it should be bots. Yeah, just try to play safe with the Ezreal for game 1.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this comp, and I'm like, you know what? Tahm Kench is pretty good here, because TK is very valuable for IMT. You get the pairing with Aphelios, but also you can protect someone from a Syndra combo, from Pantheon who's jumping in. So I think it's a no-brainer lock-in for Joey to go Tahm Kench, and that ends up being the call for IMT. We'll see if DK Crew round it out with an Enchantress of sorts, as it is Ezreal, a champ that has a lot of range. You can play behind Syndra rather nicely, so we will see if Evan RL is able to pop off on this Hez.
Yeah, I'm actually curious as Zeri just goes all the way through, but all the same, they are going to round it out with a little bit of solid AP damage. The Gwen gets picked up for Vital here, as it had been falling through with all of those other bans out the targets, and the last hover is on the Seraphine, but unlikely we'd see it compared to something more like this. The Nautilus can add a little bit of bruiser action, so all of a sudden there is a lot of not only CC, but pretty good front line coming in for Immortals Progressive.
Okay, so no Tom Kench, but it is more engaged for the side of IMT. That point-and-click depth charge should be very valuable against the Syndra and the Ezreal. I would love Braum here, as it is a dive comp for IMT. Braum, you can handshake the lane with Nautilus. You don't get first move, but you do win the lane phase in, you know, that isolated matchup. And for DK Crew, I think it's just going to be all about hitting the scatter of the weeks and trying to capitalize from there. They could play for picks. Ezreal's that late game insurance, whereas for IMT, I think they really have to get things going early with this Jarvan, and Gwen's going to be kind of the savior in the later stages of the game, along with that Aphelios. So, honestly, really curious draft, because it is the first game that we've seen on 12-14, and Jarvan versus Pantheon, that's a jungle matchup that I'm expecting to see a lot of on this patch. We get our first look.
Yeah, I'm really excited the teams have been studying up and getting ready for the moment, as they will be taken to the Rift here. So, not only is the jungle matchup really interesting, I think it is super keen that Immortals have gone for this composition that needs to get off the ground early, because, as you noted, they've struggled a little bit in their mid game. That's where things have started to fall apart for them. If they can build a little bit of a buffer early on, that can be the key to victory. But, I mean, the bot lane for DK Crew, you know, they were looking pretty hot. They were looking pretty good in some of our highlight plays. But at the same time, like, we'll see what they can do with this, with the handshake that you mentioned, and if they can hold on. Not to mention the pick potential across the rest of the map. Very excited. Looks like we're going to be getting ready to go into game number 1 here for Immortals Progressive Academy, facing off against DK Crew. It's do or die in game 1 of our best of 3.
Yeah, of course, if you are just joining us, this is Proving Grounds. We've got our amateur team going up against an academy team in the first round. Winner moves into the double elimination phase of the tournament. Loser goes home.
A lot of pressure. Although for the team that was not even expected to be here, DK Crew moving in. Oh, yeah, that was 5v3. They're going to flash for it into the Winter's Bite. Clyde, short race follows, does not have anything to close the gap. So IMT end up getting a free flash. Net gain.
Like that from Pretty, as it is going to be still a Corrupting Potion start for the Talia. We might see some of the builds change with how solo laners take their runes. Again, Second Wind, Bone Plating, both nerfed. Corrupting Potion nerfed, Time Warp Tonic nerfed. So a lot of that lane sustain that, you know, gave our players safety on the champions has been taken down a peg. It's going to lead to us seeing more champions like Syndra. Pantheon, of course, with the buff. It's going to help him be meta. And like to see both of our teams taking advantage of that, as it is our first day and first game on 12-14, which we'll be playing the majority of the tournament games on.
Sure. Yeah, so, you know, we talked about the pick potential in general, but, like, you know, for people who just did not seen Pantheon in such a long time, like, talk to me about what you expect to see Shorter Ace doing in the early stage of this game.
I gotta say, I really want to see Shorter Ace set up around mid, because I think that with Talia not having flash, you have Scatter of the Week on Syndra. It's a great gank setup to enable Pantheon to jump on in and take that Talia down. And if you get Talia, if you prevent Pretty from moving across the map for IMT, we've seen that be a winning formula for a lot of our academy teams. Is Pretty is so important for Immortals just getting on the map and having some sort of impact to help out his side laners. So I think the draft for DK Crew is a decent idea or attempt of how you can take down Immortals. Just want to see if Shorter Ace and Savage can sync up and execute.
That's going to be the question, right? You know, we've seen some pretty good coordination from those two in the past, but is it going to be enough? Checking back down with the bottom side, level 2 picked up for Arrow and Joey as they just kind of bully Evan, RL, and Clyde out. You talked about the handshake and the support role, but Evan is the late game insurance for this team, right? You know, the Ezreal isn't necessarily going to be dominating the lane state. At the same time, though, once you get to late game, that's an Aphelios on the other side of the board.
Yeah, this matchup for Ezreal, you do get shoved in early, but with that first strike, it's about farming up, trying to hit 2 items, then utilizing the range advantage that you have on Aphelios to poke out the side of IMT. So, see if DK can hold steady before that, but you can see Joey, given the priority they have, he's trying to make a move mid. This is not spotted by the side of DK Crew.
No, it is not. Oh boy. Vital could be in a bit of trouble. That's a no flash win right now.
This is not spotted by IMTA.
Yeah, I think Vital knows he's going to be in trouble. That mist only works at a distance. They're looking to cover it right now as he's trying to go for the full wraparound. Gets hit, stunned into Oblivion, and first blood secured by Shorter Ace.
Nice play by Shorter Ace. Again, Pantheon, this pick, so we're seeing it because they buffed up his clear. The Q does more damage to monsters, But the real strength of Pantheon is in the early stages of the game. That point-and-click stun, so powerful against a lot of our early game just powerful in the early game, making sure that some of the late game champions can't get off the ground. Like to see Shorter Ace getting involved in the lanes early. It's not for free, though, as Chad will be taking away, he's trying to attempt to take away 2 crabs, does have a smite coming back up, and bot lane priority here.
Yeah, he's not going to go for that one. I'm trying to fight against the smite and, maybe he's already a little low on mana. So yeah, Chad gets something back for himself. He recognizes he has the priority down on the bottom side. Back to go ahead and clear over on his Krugs. But yeah, Vital already going a little bit down. Does have, I guess the farm lead's pretty inconsequential there, but the TP advantage is really the only thing, and he's not going to be able to use it across the map anyhow. So this is a good start for DK Crew.
And it really is comfort for DK Crew. Hybrids, on this Aatrox, it is self-sufficient, but we've seen what, he has been able to do on this champ throughout history, hoisting a collegiate title with Winthrop. And now, we'll see if the collegiate boys for DK Crew can really sync up to try and attack this bot lane as Arrow Joey are keeping the wave in front of the turret, and Shorter Ace is lying in wait.
This has got to be game senses right now, or just a good timer. I mean, not going to let that one be a lane gank in the waiting, so it ends up wasting some of Shorter Ace's time, meaning Chad moves up into his own jungle, and there's a ward that he just walks almost right over his Hybrid's back's right on top of it. We're going to have a little bit of information on where that Jarvan is going.
Yeah, it is curious, actually, to note for the Pantheon. So we've seen a couple different Pantheon builds, mostly Eclipse and Gore Drinker being played in Champskew. Shout out to River, who has been destroying Champskew with the Pantheon. But it looks to be a Divine Sunderer here for Shorter Ace, so really looking to hit that one-item spike hard.
Yeah, that is curious. DK Crew, it seems like they're going to try to accelerate the game state pretty well. And let's see if he combines up with Savage, because we've already seen the Hybrids play. I want to see if they can try to make a playoff onto Pretty. It's not known for necessarily being the tankiest of champions. And this Syndra, back on 12.14, gone for the level 2 boots already.
That's a lot of damage here. And Pretty does have that flash back up, importantly enough. He's able to get another base off. Get some socks for himself, but for DK Crew, really is all about this Pantheon Syndra getting off the ground, trying to snowball in the side lanes early. I know Ezreal's that late game insurance, but I really favor Immortals comp in the mid game if we are on even footing like we are at the moment. As we'll see if Chad's able to get involved here.
That's going to be the hook from Joey. Clyde, though, immediately puts the wall up. Does get rooted down on the second wind effort. I think that's going to be enough to get the kill. He flashes burning and down.
Ooh.
Joey with the secure, and they even get the flash in the mix. I think Clyde just didn't quite calculate the health he had left.
And it was well executed by the side of IMT. Chad with the flag and drag after the blue and purple gun combo from Arrow, making sure that Gravitum connects into the free flag and drag. Really well done by the IMT bot lane. That's going to be first dragon going over to our Academy squad.
Yeah, it's a great transition here from the IMT Academy side as they utilize the timing they have, the window they have. They actually have eyes on Shorter Ace as well inside their own blue jungle. But trying to play safe around across the rest of the map here. Savage taking a little low, didn't see what happened in that one. Just some good trading out from Pretty, I suspect.
And at least Shorter Ace is able to answer something on the other side of the map. We'll have to see what the play is for Rift Herald. Important to note, Shorter Ace does have that level 6, so the mini global now enabled on that Grand Starfall for the Pantheon. As we will see our supports move. Joey just goes wide on the dredge line from Savage.
So
that hitbox not helping him that time.
Yeah, we've seen some really stretchy ones. I think he might need to add a couple of links to the chain. However, Pretty does manage to get a nice little shove off onto Savage, but Clyde was right there to jump in. Not a whole lot more mana to work with. Doesn't have blue buff. Got stolen away by Shorter Ace. And I do want to shout out DK Crew for getting a fair amount of ward coverage up and down this river. You talked about the setup for the Rift Herald here, and I think DK Crew certainly have their sights set on it as we're about to hit that 8-minute mark in the game. Hybrids on Vital. 1v1. That's about to turn into a 2v1 if he's not careful. Chad sneaking through this jungle, solid snake style.
Yeah, for me, all eyes are on the supports to see if they end up making a move. As
Fire Dragon
oh,
into the midst,
boy.
However, can Hybrid still get the kill? No, he cannot. Vital gets revenge with a little help from his jungler.
And I love the timing from Chad. His bot camps are up, but Chad skips them, walks top, helps out Vital at the right time. This is really what we were looking to see from Chad. I know, Chad talking to him, trying to level up his play for PG, said, I need to be Armeo. I need to be what he does for Team Liquid, which is making sure in the first 25 minutes of the game, that game is in my control. Everything that I do, I'm setting the pace, the tempo, making sure that my team gets ahead. And this is a great move from Chad to make sure that Vital is able to answer back in the matchup where he was ganked. First blood was drawn by DK Crew. Chad able to turn it around a little bit later.
Yeah, Vital definitely goes in on this one, kind of baits the fight out, knowing that Hybrids is going to want to take that. Instantly flag and drag. Really, really well executed. Vital sticking around, too, playing on the edge of the health bar, and nicely done. Checking back into the bottom side, you can see the shove has continued for Arrow and Joey. Evan RL is now a little bit on that CS, about a 20 difference. And because of the play that happened topside, this opens up a completely free Rift Herald. You can see Shorter Ace was waiting in the back there. Really no backup coming, so does not want to spend the man drop trying to make anything crazy happen. Rift Herald 1 secured by Immortals Progressive.
I like the base from Shorter Ace. We'll see if he ends up trying to make a play bot. One of the issues right now for the Pantheon does have that flash up, but Pantheon very strong as champions that are flashless, as jumping on them early can be a death sentence given the early kit of Pantheon and the early strength this champion brings to the Rift. At the moment, everyone has flash except for Vital, who didn't opt for it, and the other one is Joey, who is not the best target for the Pan.
It's got a leak from Savage. Not going to fall for that one. Shorter Ace waiting around the side. There's no dragon to play for, but it looks like the teams want to skirmish anyways, and maybe not on the DK Crew side. Shorter Ace, I think he was hoping for some kind of pick, but
hold on.
Dredge line goes wide there. They're going to try for a second win. They know that cooldown spend. Here we go, jumping onto Joey. Here comes Arrow, though, a little low on the mana bar. Joey gets deleted off the map by Shorter Ace. However, they get the jump in. Chad says, enter the Thunderdome. And DK Crew will not be going out alive on that one. Trading 2 for 1, but Evan RL looking for another effort in here. Just does not have the damage to try and go toe-to-toe with Arrow.
Oh, no.
Cut him off. And he just tries for the bait. Over the wall, they do it. Chad outplayed.
Oh, meanwhile, top lane, Vital get a solo kill. We're still going bot. Pretty looking.
Yeah, and Brandon's vein too low, and this one gets knocked back. Savage, however, Evan RL playing to the edge of this one. What a messy fight. What an absolute chaotic affair we have here.
Oh, he's back.
Arrow, Pantheon comes right back in, and it means Evan RL is able to get the kill. The dust settles. And it's a DK-favored trade, despite everything.
I mean, what craziness as the amateur team making things haywire here for Immortals, and the target focus, they burned everything on Joey, the support. It enabled IMT to come back in the back half. But Evan RL on this Ezreal, man, what he was able to do in the Arrow later in the fight when the cooldowns were low, and Evan, his choice to rejoin his team, Arcane Shift aggressively over the wall, actually saved his life and helped DK Crew turn that one back into their favor.
Yeah, we got to see this again because so many things happened in that moment. It was DK Crew that started the fight. They focused on to Joey, getting good burst. You see Clyde going forward. They don't expect Arrow, though, and Chad gets the setup.
Yeah.
Shorter Ace out of the fight for this moment. But Savage, the flash, is clutch. And Evan's like, hang on, we got this. It doesn't look like they got this, but, you know, we'll check back in with that because the one-on-one has to not do.
Yeah, we did miss the top one-on-one, which, you know, welcome to Amateur versus Academy, man. We got action everywhere, but again, Evan RL, he gets back to his teammate, and Savage hits a big combo. Yeah, Vital gets solo kill, snip in the top lane. It is what it is, but then the heal from Evan, the sidestep. We see a late combo from Savage. We're back.
Yeah, and Shorter Ace is dead again. So that's
okay.
Many Shorter Ace deaths we've seen in the last couple minutes. Flash and Mitts on the hook, but going goes into the wall. They still get a knock-up off the ultimate. Savage should be able to limp away. Oh no, the hook's around too, but he's taking tower shots. It's going, and he goes down. But he has to consider that hashtag worth for getting a kill back to his team. And the action doesn't stop, Cubby. 7-6, and we're only 12 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, it's going to be very worth. Looks like Chad's going to drop that Herald mid as Arrow's pulling the Dragon. So taking down Savage, well worth it there for Joey, as it will net his team potentially 2 objectives and 4 IMT. This is the start they needed. Into a Pantheon Syndra. Yeah, Syndra's off the ground, but now you take her off the map. You take away some plates. One more Rift Herald means that mid turret goes down, and it's 2 Dragons for IMT. So their early game plan, this is something that I feel like IMT did very well at the start of the split. We saw them have early leads at times in the later half, the second round robin. They weren't able to hold on. I want to see if IMT can hold on to this one, because it is a sound early game lead, and their mid game should be very strong, given the fact they have Talia plus Aphelios.
Oh yeah, I think this is spike that we're gonna hope to see out of this team, and the kills onto Arrow as well. Got the Gale Force up and running. There is that Divine Thunder you were talking about for Shorter Race, but we'll talk about that in a minute because the prediction doesn't go through. Doesn't matter. They get the kill anyways. Joey looking for a body block on those power shots, and Vital, after getting first blooded, has had 3 kills unanswered, 2 of them with assistance from his team, and that Gwen is getting scary.
And good news for Vital, too. Of course, the rookie on this roster, I think, was a part of the struggle the IMT had in the second half of the split. But yeah, after getting first blooded, Chad makes one visit up top, and Vital self-sufficient from there. Really well done by IMT as they push this gold lead to 2K over DK.
Yeah. So, a rare break in the action right now, Cubby. We have just a moment, but I think it's only going to be a moment. Joey, Arrow holding down the line in mid lane against Evan and Clyde as the map state resets. You can see the swap down of both Savage and also Vital going to meet each other. I do think that should be feeling pretty good for the Savage side of things, but the flip is true up top.
We will see. Gwen going immune versus Syndra can be tough, so Savage does have to be careful if you get caught out by one ultimate. Can get chased down, but fortunately for Savage, we did really hype up Savage as this point of strength for DK Crew as a very strong mid laner in the laning phase. I think he's going to have to be that big point of contention later as Joey. Nautilus?
Yeah, there we go. He's just taking through. However, he gets a little bit low in that one. I think that dive only works so many times before the Aatrox knows what's up.
Yeah, it's just setting hybrids further behind. Not quite able to find him, though, as
True shot. Does just whiff. Oh boy. Meanwhile, down bottom row. Vital. Into the mist.
He's immune.
Gwen is immune. Not forever. As the shutdown comes through, Shorter Race blocking yet again. As they're just trying to give Vital a hard time.
That's a good game plan, though, from Shorter Ace. IMT, they show Joey top, show 2, you answer bot lane. Again, this is a roster that in Collegiate has a ton of experience. These guys have played a lot of competitive games as Everell and Clyde have been playing for 8 years, in these high-level games. Really good to see them, work with their team to make some good decisions as Pantheon attacking the Syndra lane, gets a kill, but against IMT, can't be traded for free, as it will be second rift taken that will lead to mid-outer falling. But at least Savage keeps on building up his own personal gold lead, taking that bot outer turret for himself.
Yeah, and they get first brick on the DK Crew side, actually. It's just kind of getting ahead of the curve on this one. And yes, the top tower is going to fall. The mid should fall as well. But DK Crew trying to keep things in the gold game. And just take a look at how it's actually broken down. It should change again in a minute, but it's only about 1,000 lead at the moment. The Dragons are going to be a big difference. The spike in the mid game that we're looking at, that's the big difference. But DK Crew have shown that they have the ability to go toe-to-toe, and Savage is certainly going to be the big playmaker. 3-1-3 on the Syndra. Ludens, of course, being matched by Pretty on the opposite side. Shorter Race going up. With Krug Camp fighting it out. Pretty actually stealing a lot of the big Krugs away.
Pretty, right in front of Shorter Race's face, man. Come on. That's...
The disrespect is real.
Yeah, losing out on some of the rocks. That said, we are a minute 20 away from this upcoming Dragon. I want to see if Evan RL is able to finish that Essence Reaver. Just got it. That's a big deal. As Evan is at that 2-item spike for the Ezreal, does have a lot of power and range. Hitting 2 items at 17 minutes, that's ahead of the curve for the Ez. Want to see if he can utilize some of that poke and playing around Savage in those Scatter of the Weeks to get members of IMT low before this upcoming objective, because this is sole point for IMT on the map.
Can't afford to give that one away. You don't want to let this team snowball ahead of you right now. Everybody's Summoner is just about her up, except for Shorter Race's Flash. This will be pretty impactful in the next 45 seconds. Clyde, Evan holding that mid lane turret. Honestly, longer than I think we would have expected. As they send the True Shot Barrage flying, it looks like it clipped Joey. As they get another Mystic Shot out. So this is really good use of the Ezreal playing around the edge, but you have to watch the collapse coming in here. It's Pretty from the top and Vital from the bottom.
Yeah, I think this is good from DK Crew, but this isn't for free. You can see IMT were able to crash waves in both side lane turrets. So DK Crew were sacking waves to try and get the health bars of IMT low with this Ezreal. I think given the fact they're down 2 dragons, this is somewhat necessary from DK Crew to try and secure this, but it is only a cloud. So we do have dragons stronger on this patch. We'll see if that can end up paying off as IMT. Yeah, we're going to drop that. That should be mid-outer falling. We'll see what DK Crew decides to do.
Now they're going to force the decision here. Clyde, he actually goes up for the knockup, splits the uprights, and Kelly completely unperturbed charges into the fight. His own already Clyde getting taken a little bit low in this fight. Short range isolated, and there is going to be the Jarvan ult, but Chad is blown up to smithereens as both jungglers going to fall. Vital keys off on short race, and Hybrid can't even get out of there in time. Flashes just to his own death. And here comes the follow-through. Weaver's Wall going to cut off the remaining members of the DK crew. Clyde and Evan trying to duel it out. We'll be able to find Woody on the opposite side. His arrow just wasn't there in time. And things are still hectic here.
That fight from IMT, Chad goes down, but he split everyone. But Pretty Arrow, they weren't able to get on Evan RL. When Pretty went in, Arrow wasn't in range to follow up. So they weren't able to take down the Ezreal. It's just a 2-for-2 across the board. We're going to see another fight pretty soon.
Yeah, everything's just a reset. We got 10 to 9 kills. We've got to kill a minute in this game right now. The goal lead, 1,500, but it's Evan and Clyde who are on this dragon. Let's take a look at that replay again. On the edge of my seat here, and on the edge of that bomb ultimate landing.
Again, this depth charge plus Jarvan combo really splits the fight. Chad goes down, but look at how split Savage and Evan are. And away from Clyde to Hybrid's falls. It's just the chase. IMT weren't quite together on this one, as Arrow, he was going to hit the wave, he wasn't going to hit the Ezreal. I think that was the big difference in making sure that Evan was able to utilize that flash, able to take down Pretty, and also able to take down the Dragon, as DK crew do deny Soul Point while we were in that replay, get one for themselves.
Yeah, cutting the Drake stack, that's going to be pretty impactful, and getting one for themselves. Even that gold game from accelerating out of control. The priority targets, it's going to be that Aphelios as the game goes on. He's also got the only bounty on the team. Savage, he's got a bounty himself, but I really have been impressed with the way Evan has been playing this game out. I think Shorter Ace knows that his job is going to be a little bit of a sack play if he goes in and just gets blown up. But as long as they can do the same thing to Chad, it's not as big of a deal. That Jarvan is not the most tanky, as Clyde does get caught. Oh, I don't know if he's going to be able to get away from this one. Actually spends his own ultimate. Arrow does get cut down. There's the stand behind me. Shorter range body blocking for his own support. And just barely Arrow finds the kill, but here comes the second wind effort here to get this guy big Chad. It's destroyed. But it is a 1-for-2 trade. IMT, they're going to bring Vital back and around, and they find Evan RL here. Shorter race on the front, gets pulled into the mist, and as the needlework comes through, Vital keeps the chase going. That's the Weaver's Wall to cut off Evan, and he pops it, and Savage just doesn't have the burst. Doesn't have the damage. That's the ace.
Pretty's Talia is so good at IMT. Break the game wide open. That's going to be Baron going down, and for DK crew, honestly, it was kind of Clyde caught out. They could have cut their losses, but sending in the TP, sending in everyone, IMT played that really well. They one-shot Hybrids off the TP. I think that was the big difference in that fight. We're going to take another look as Clyde, he's really low. Arrow's going to take him down with an ult. Arrow was chunked out by Evan RL. I think that's what DK crew thought about, sending the TP, trying to take down Arrow. But Hybrids, he got one shot. There was nothing that he could do. He cast the ult. He casted nothing else in that fight. And Vital, Pretty with the angles, the Weaver's Wall. So good from Pretty here. Again, this guy's Talia, 6-1 in our Academy regular season. He is a filthy good Talia player. They had a game plan into him. Wasn't able to work out. And now Pretty able to punish.
Absolutely. You can see why you can't afford to give this one away. We're looking at the Aphelios. We're looking at the Glen. And just in terms of scorelines, things were looking good, but Pretty definitely reminding us why he is such a terror on the champion. As they're not done yet, looking for the burst on the Chad. They will not let him get away as Evan RL finds the final shot. And it's just Pinball looking for Vital as well into the mist. He goes. However, even through the Aphelios, so if they can get the shutdown, that's big gold over to Savage, and now it's a 5v3.
IMT, Arrows.
He is popped down, but Joey's in the gun. Golden for just a second. Does he have enough tankiness to hold the line? Here comes
Arrow's down
on the side, looking for more. They take Evan out of this one.
Arrow
caught nicely. They're looking for Arrow. He's buying time. He finally will fall. And IMT, they wrenched the most out of a bad situation. However, here comes the Weaver's Wall yet again for round 2. Clyde, he gets denied, but it doesn't matter. They can keep on chasing right now, trying to dance around all the CC. Clyde goes forward. Pretty looking for more. It's stunned up. They don't have the follow through, and God, what a stressful fight it's been.
Oh, DK crew, they overextended a little bit. Arrow had so many nice side steps, but they can still set up on the Pretty here.
Oh boy, they're gonna try for it. He tries on Savage, looking for that burst. It's the scat of the week. No, Pretty. He's gonna make that one a 1-for-1 at the very least. The timing gets missed. Here comes Vital. Savage, he's dead. He's got to be dead. No, he flashes away, but now
Chad's
even with the
coming.
Scatter, Chad's
What?
up. This fight just never ended.
Pretty well
What is
down
that?
to Ezreal,
What
too.
is happening? No, okay,
Oh
just
my
the,
god.
just the swag flag kill from Chad Jungle.
Oh my god, DK Crew, man. They came to play their game. That's a
Yeah,
bloody
they
game. And honestly, turning things hectic for DK Crew, really, like at this point, I feel like they've, minus the Ezreal, they've been outscaled. I don't think this is the worst decision for them. And it was a great fight setup. IMT are so split. Pretty's hitting bot wave. DK Crew just full sends it on the two members that are alone. And the only thing that really saves this fight from getting out of hand for IMT is the sidesteps, the movement from Arrow on the back half of this fight. Watch him utilize the cleanse, dodges out on the Scatter of the Weak combo, sidesteps a spear here from Shorter Ace, the long one, able to live for so long, and that enabled Pretty and Joey to kind of sync up, at least take down Evan RL and give themselves a fighting chance. But IMT, I gotta say, them going to hit this bot wave after they got the members of DK Crew so low, very questionable decision for me. Like, why are you extending onto the enemy side of the map with Baron when you are this low? I know you have TP coming in, but just reset. You're ahead. You have scaling. Like, you have omens to win. That's a mistake that if IMT makes that against a better team with, you know, in better position at this point of the game, they will get punished as Clyde.
Want to talk about getting punished, though? Clyde had no chance of a
boy.
prayer, no flash, no way to escape, and he just gets CC'd for ages. This time, DK Crew, they do cut their losses, but you're right. I feel like it's Immortals that are getting stuck into the chaos.
No
but
flash.
You know what? They know how to play in the chaos. Shorter Ace cannot get out of there in time as Arrow gets him down. Hybrids and Evan gonna try and guard this inner, but Savage completely isolated up topside. That's 3 unanswered kills.
It was a good attempt at the bot river from DK Crew, but IMT, they do the same thing to them. They split them up, they take them down, and now these structures are going to fall. As Soul Point was secured by IMT during that replay. You got to believe that's at least one inhibitor now going down in favor of Immortals. We'll see how long they stick around here.
Oh boy, yeah, they don't opt to finish the job just yet, but as you said, they are ahead. They can reset, they can fix things up. They have control of the map right now, and you mentioned it, they do outscale minus the Ezreal, but Evan RL's gonna have to do a lot of heavy lifting if DK Crew want to way back into this game.
And you know, Evan and Savage, they are big. We almost have a death cap coming in for Savage. If he connects with any Cinder combo, that is half health on a squishy gone. That said, it is also a death cap finished for Talia. So if you fight Talia in an elongated team fight, you will melt. And there is no magic resistance on the side of DK Crew. So not only do you have to be worried about that Talia, but also the Gwen, who is also trying to finish the death cap. So I think at this point, IMT, they have hit their stride. They are in really good shape this game. We'll see if Evan RL can pull out any late game heroics playing around, you know, these Cinder scatters. But at the moment, not looking good.
Oh boy, yeah, and Savage, he gets bursted down by Pretty. Woo! That's definitely a death cap.
That's why we don't give Pretty Talia, guys. It's really good. He is so good on this champion. 6-1 this split, looking to move to 7-1. And DK Crew, that's one member down in a side lane. Evan can't really get out on the map. Everything seems like it's coming up IMT.
Yeah, Shorter Ace is caught. He may be able to tank through it for just a little while, but that root is going to come down. There's the knock-up on the depth charge, and Pretty tags his way right into this one. Does get taken a little bit low, but turns it right back into the rest of the team. The Weaver's Wall going to collapse, and however, Hybrids is looking for something. Evan RL running for the hills, trying to bait out Chad, but the Cataclysm Goomba stomps him. And now it is only Clyde left remaining, and for how much longer? Well, the answer is not very, as he gets cut down to size by Vital.
Savage is up, but this base is going to start to collapse. IMT, red-white on Arrow. Again, looking to build confidence against DK Crew. A 3-15 second round robin was abysmal for IMT, but they are bouncing back in this one. And honestly, one of the things that I can really take away for IMT, the performance from Chad in this game on this Jarvan, it's been really sound. This was a champ that he played to a lot of success in the last 2 proving grounds with IMT and subbing in for 100 Thieves in 21 Summer. With J4 into Pant, this is a good matchup for Jarvan, and Chad's really cashed in on it.
Oh, yeah, yes. Really, really impactful ultimates, and Vital just fully 1v1ing on Savage. Savage is... He said Savage is big. Problem is Savage just dies. Now Shorter Ace going to tag his way in for round 2. I feel like we're playing second tag at this point. Oh, Vital, and he still gets it.
Full sense
Gwen
from
is
DK
immune.
Crew. Yeah, Gwen is not only immune, but is also fed as hell.
You gotta
Vital.
full send together. You can't full send handshake.
That's true.
Oh no, Clyde! Clyde! Oh boy, there's the teleport. I think they fancy their chances on this one. Maybe not. Here comes Chad. It's a 3v3.
Vital's so big.
Hybrids is in. Oh no!
Oh my
Evan
God.
RL gets baited into Joey once again. The dunk is on. They find Clyde.
Oh
the
my
double
God.
kill for Vital as he goes for the jugular and the ace at 29 minutes. They're in the base. This is it. GG. Immortals progressive. Academy taking game number 1 here. Not much Savage can do, but just watch his own Nexus and his own health bar get destroyed.
Gotta say, I've missed the game pace of Amateur a bit. It's fun, as it's 49 kills in less than 30 minutes here. We said IMT, they like to throw down. DK Crew, they were not going to go down without a fight. And yeah, some monkeying around in the later stages of the game. Not enough for DK Crew in that one, and IMT, I think they stuck to their game plan nicely.
Yep. You know, it's funny, you were talking about a lot about like 2015, 2014. We were looking way back in the past before this one. Well, there was another thing brand new back in those days, Cubby. It was fast, it was fun, it was Dominion. And that's kind of what this game felt like. It was all over the map, all action all the time. I got to get my throwbacks when I can. But man, what a chaotic game. And Immortals, you know, they pull it off, they control it, they get the scaling at the end. And I think you want a confidence booster? You got it.
Yeah, especially for someone like Vital, you know, this rookie putting up numbers like that in a game and having a solo performance. I believe it was almost an unofficial penta there at the end, if it wasn't stolen by Chad. Gotta earn them, but we'll see if IMTA can earn another victory and earn their spot in the double elimination phase of the tournament coming up next.
I'll be right back. Okay. Let's...
I mean, Arrow is just one of the hardest working players I've ever worked with. He always makes sure that I'm on top of my game as well. Like, even if I'm like not in the mood or something like that, he'll like be like, Joey, no, we gotta watch this. We gotta watch this. This lane thing, you have to do this. And I'm like, I'll learn a lot from him like that. And like, we live together. And like, sometimes recently, he's just been like, I'm like laying in bed after scrims and he just knocks on the door. He's like, Joe, you busy? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. And he just goes and lays on my bed anyway and then just starts reviewing the games with me and like how I can be better as a player. So it's really nice to know that I'm working with someone who looks out for me as much as he does. And I'm like really grateful that I've been able to work with him for so long.